With the 71st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Aaron Robinson, defensive back, UCF.
He's an Alabama transfer, Rich, so you can give him half of a point.
And we welcome you to Big Blue Draft Night Live, presented by Van Heusen. So the New York Giants trade up in round number 3 with the Denver Broncos. They surrender the 5th-round draft pick that they got from the Chicago Bears last night, and they select Aaron Robinson out of Central Florida. Bob Papa, along with Super Bowl champions Shaun O'Hara and David Diehl. Guys, Dave Gettleman has been very aggressive. In round number 2, he trades back. He gets his pass rusher, and clearly the apple of his eye and the staff's eye in round number 3 was adding a cornerback for the Giants, and Aaron Robinson has been the selection. Your thoughts on Dave moving around and the pick of Robinson?
Yeah, Bob, look, Dave Gettleman's feeling frisky this year. And I tell you, I saw him yesterday. I saw him today. He's never looked lighter on his feet. Little did we all know he was going to be dancing all over the place. So Dave Gettleman trades back for the second time in this draft. Now he trades up. It's clear that in day 2 here, it's all about defense, getting the edge rusher in Ojulari, and now with Aaron Robinson. Aaron Robinson, the first thing that jumps out at you is speed. 4.38. You play down at UCF, Central Florida, you've got to have some speed. He certainly has that. I think you would categorize him, Bob, as a slot corner, and that's kind of where he made his hay down in Florida, and that's where his specialty is, moving inside. So no doubt for the Giants to get some additional help at corner. Obviously, Darnay Holmes, their 4th-round pick from last year. Now this creates even more opportunity. I think there is some versatility too, though, Dave. He could play safety if you need to, move him all around, and that's certainly a big part of being a defender for the Giants.
No question. I think when we've heard Patrick Graham talk about this defense, he talks about flexibility and versatility, and that's what he brings to this Giants defense. You think with the addition of Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan re-signed, James Bradbury coming off a tremendous season last year, Xavier McKinney going to get a full season in. Now you're talking about where you can change up zone and man on the back end. You can show something pre-snap and then switch into something post-snap. We know that this is something that, as we watch this Giants defense down the stretch in 2020, they had to play much more zone than man because they didn't have somebody opposite James Bradbury. Now with these additions, Patrick Graham's going to have a lot of different things that he's going to be able to throw at quarterbacks.
Yeah, and guys, you know, one of the things that we haven't talked about that you need to talk about is there's injuries. I mean, you guys know you played in the National Football League. People get banged up, and the last thing you want to do is start grabbing guys off the street and guys that are journeymen that go from team to team. You're bringing in some young players that can learn your system, and they'll have roles for them. But at least now when you have to put a guy in to start because someone's down for a week. Think about the game late in the season that Bradbury wound up missing. Yep. The Giants were hampered in that situation. Now you have draft picks and if you trade up for a guy in the 3rd round, you think highly of him. It's someone that in a spot you can go put him in there and play and feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, I don't think if you're Dave Gettleman or any general manager in the NFL, I don't think you can ever be too deep at corner. And, Dave, you were talking about the versatility and being able to move guys around. To have a corner that can come in and play slide with the way that offenses now are trying to spread everybody out. A lot of times, look, the Giants would start games last year with 3 safeties, with 3 corners out there on defense in their nickel package. So this absolutely creates some depth. It creates a lot of competition. I think when you look back at Xavier McKinney, look, the Giants drafted him in the 2nd round last year. He breaks his foot in training camp, ends up missing the first half of the season, and then accelerates back onto the field in the second half of the season. So no doubt you can never have too many good corners, and especially when it comes to 3rd down, it's always nice to be able to have some guys that you could rotate in, just like we were talking about with the pass rushers and fresh legs. Yep. You can get some fresh legs in at the corner spot.
Well, I think if we just watched the draft last night and saw the amount of wide receivers and the speed coming off of the board, it's not only just in the NFL, it's in the NFC East as well. So bringing in a prospect like this only allows you to be able to do so much more on the back end. And like I said, the ability to play press man, to play that slot nickel corner, and more importantly, like you were talking about, now think about the flexibility you can do with Peppers and bring him down as almost like a dime linebacker or a spy on those mobile quarterbacks. This is what allows this Giants defense to get even better in 2021.
If you think about the trade that the Giants made, right, with the Chicago Bears, so because they didn't have a 5th-round pick, that was part of the Leonard Williams deal. They get that 5th-round pick back, and now they've spun that into a 3rd-round corner. So they've kind of manipulated the board really well as far as utilizing assets and stockpiling players right now. Are you guys surprised at how aggressive Dave and the Giants have been kind of wheeling and dealing?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something that coming into even last night, it wasn't something that Dave Gettleman had really done before in trading back. I think, to me, it's not just the movement with the trades, trading back, now trading back up. It's the ability to trade back and still get guys that were graded higher for where you're getting them at. I mean, they thought that Kadarius Toney would be off the board at 20, and there he is still sitting there. Everybody thought Ojulari was going to be a possible first-rounder. Here, he's still sitting there with the 50th pick after they traded back. I think even when you look at Aaron Robinson, there were people that had a second-round grade on him as well. So I think for the Giants, not just the fact that they accumulated more future picks, but they were able to get guys with higher grades on them despite falling back. So I think that's huge. I think the one thing I'll say about Aaron Robinson, too, that you see from film work and you hear from people talking about him, this kid's a good tackler.
Yeah.
He did not miss tackles in college, and I think that's one of the things that we know Joe Judge talks about. Patrick Graham, certainly the ability to tackle guys in space, that's an art form. You don't get as many reps as you did back in the day when you had 2-a-days, when you had a full OTA. Tackling, it's not something you get a whole lot of practice reps at. You don't get a lot of time to do it. Last year, certainly with no preseason games, you could see in weeks 1 and 2 how sloppy some of the tackling was. So that's definitely a big part of playing corner. I know we talk about coverage, but Bob, tackling is a part of that too.
Yeah, and if you think about it, some of the the best corners in Giants history are guys that play the run. And when you think about the temperament of James Bradbury, who's a complete corner, outstanding cover guy, ball skills and everything else, but he's not shying away when there's a run coming his way. And Adoree Jackson on the other side brings that same kind of mentality. So clearly, there's a certain DNA and a certain mindset that Joe Judge, this front office, and Patrick Graham expect in their defensive players. Quickly, because we're going to hear from Aaron in just a moment, are you guys surprised that the Giants still have not touched the offensive line?
Not necessarily. Obviously, when you're sitting there and you're watching some of these picks come off of the board, I think this is a discussion you and I both had, that you don't want to press and you just don't want to lunge at somebody that you don't feel is a great fit for your offense and is a need for your offensive line currently. But I do think, as we said earlier, that once we start getting into the 4th, the 5th round, I do think that there are going to be some interior offensive linemen, if still on the board, that the Giants could take. But with that said, we also know that there is linebacker depth that is needed on this team as well. So I think it's based upon who's available at that time, just not part of the necessity of getting it.
Yeah, Bob, I don't think they're done yet. I mean, you talked about Dave Diehl being a 5th rounder. Richie Sawyer is an undrafted guy. I was an undrafted guy, so you could still find some good offensive linemen later on in the draft. I think the guy that I thought they may try to jump at was Dylan Raduns, the tackle from North Dakota State. He went off the board in the 2nd round, I believe. So they definitely feel good about it. I think the one guy that everybody kind of has forgotten about on the offensive line, Bob, is Nate Solder.
Yeah.
And I think him opting out, obviously last year medically, he had some reasons for that. But the fact that he took a pay cut and is coming back to the Giants knowing that he's going to have to compete for that right tackle spot, I think that's going to make this offensive line a lot better.
Yeah, and it's also given Nate Solder a year to heal up, guys, because remember, he played pretty banged up with the Giants the last couple of years. Maybe a chance for his body to get a little reset. I know being away from the game is never the best thing, but maybe his body just needed a year of healing up a little bit, and we might see a fresher, more rejuvenated Nate Solder as well.
No question. And then you think about Matt Parrott coming into his 2nd season, as well as Andrew Thomas. Now what that allows you to do is have competition at the tackle positions, but also have a swing tackle that can do both. And now with Kyle Rudolph coming into the fold through free agency, who's to say that sometimes you're not going to roll out there with 3 tight ends and just say, we're going to roll it right downhill, we're going to run duo, we're going to run zone, which they were effective of doing last year, and just rolling out in 2021 that way and building the play-action passing game off of that.
Hey, I got a message for Giants fans before we get to the Giants' third-round draft pick. Giants fans with Dunkin' delivering from more locations than ever before. And they're making it easier and easier for you. It's now easier to get your faves like fast coffee, donuts, sandwiches, and more brought to you directly to your door, which is great if you don't plan on leaving the house at all today. Or maybe you have a draft to prep for, because it is a 7-round draft. So you want to stay alert. You're going to need your coffee and a little Dunkin' Donuts. Price and participation may vary. Exclusions apply. America runs on Dunkin'. Well, the Giants traded up in the third round of the 2021 draft with the Denver Broncos, and they jump up to select cornerback Aaron Robinson. And he joins us here on Giants Draft Night Live, presented by Van Heusen. Aaron, Bob Papa, along with Super Bowl champions Shaun O'Hara and David Diehl, congratulations on being selected by the New York Giants. Did you expect that the Giants were that interested in you? And when you saw that they traded up, did you think, hey, maybe they might be calling my number?
Yeah, I didn't know too much of what to expect. Just patiently waiting. Just humbly waiting, really, and got the call, and pretty much, was excited, as ever, and was ready to go.
Aaron, congratulations on being a new member of Big Blue, and I know you're going to look forward to rocking the new uniform and wearing the blue stripe on your helmet. I think when you look at your style of play, some people have called you a slot corner. How would you label yourself as a corner?
Nothing, specific. Just a guy, a physical player, ready to get out there and showcase his skills, wherever that may be, wherever coach needs me to go and play and perform, I'm ready to go learn that playbook and ready to make the most of my opportunity.
Aaron, congratulations on being drafted to the New York Giants. Both Shaun and I have done film work on you, and we've talked to scouts, and we've read the reports. And from film watch, you play much bigger than your size, and you are not scared to mix it up, play downhill, dislodge a wide receiver from the football. Just talk about that physical nature and what you love about playing that big hit and setting the tempo for the defense.
Yeah, I growing up, I always, favored the defensive side of the ball a little bit more than anything. And, with this game comes that mentality and physicality you got to play with to be able to go out there and perform and hold up, really. So, I really just try to go out there and, make the most of my opportunity. And whenever that comes, I'm there. I'm there to, show up.
Aaron, I know you're fast. You're clocked in at a 4.38. So speed is definitely a big part of your game, but you're really quick with the route recognition too. So I'm curious, with your film study, not just of receivers, but of other corners, what corners in the NFL do you model your game after? And are there any corners that you like to watch a lot of film on?
No corner specific. I do watch a lot of film. I am always trying to get a lot of ball in. Pretty much just taking it from every angle, and just trying to dial in and go out there and perform, to the best of my ability.
And Aaron, to go along with that, I know you were high school teammates with Jerry Jeudy, and I know you're a player that loves the challenge, lining up against those number one guys. You got to be excited about this opportunity to line up with James Bradberry, Adoree Jackson, and this Big Blue defense that's going to roll out in 2021.
Definitely. Like I mentioned, I'm excited, looking forward to my opportunity, wherever that may be. And then, pretty much just go out there and make it happen.
I don't think anybody's excited for you, Aaron. Your phone is blowing up right now.
Yeah, it's just going crazy.
Oh, yeah. Get used to that, my man. How about special teams, Aaron? Do you have some special teams experience?
Yeah, definitely have special teams experience, through the college years. And, same thing with special teams, wherever that may be, wherever I can, present my opportunity to help out. I'm willing to do it and do it 100%, 150%.
And for all those Giants fans out there right now watching, what are they going to expect out of Aaron Robinson in 2021 wearing that Big Blue uniform?
They expect a, hungry, humble young man, ready to come in and, compete, ready to play, and really just to come in and be around some great guys, some great coaching, and then pretty much just make the most of my opportunity and do it 150%.
Aaron, we appreciate you taking a couple minutes to join us here tonight. I know it's a very exciting evening for you. Your phone's blowing up. You're a member of the New York Football Giants, one of the flagship franchises of the National Football League, 4-time Super Bowl champs. We look forward to meeting you in person when you get up to East Rutherford, New Jersey. Congratulations on, I know, a special night for you and your family.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys having me.
That is Aaron Robinson, who the Giants traded up in the 3rd round to select out of Central Florida as the Giants make a deal with the Denver Broncos and go from 76 to 71.
All right, Bob, thanks so much. Listen, Bob, I think Bob was just talking about what the Giants gave up to move up and take him. And for Aaron Robinson, you got to feel pretty good knowing that the Giants traded up to get you. So he's got to feel wanted. And Dave, I know the theme tonight, it's been about defense, certainly about 3rd down, but you hear the guy talking about it. He's got like this quiet confidence, and I can't wait for him to start to get the nicknames. When he starts to shut receivers down, it's Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. I'm pretty sure he's going to have some fun with that.
Absolutely. I just love his physicality that he brings on film, willing to play downhill, whether it's a screen, getting off of the blocks by a wide receiver and making that tackle for a loss, or dislodging somebody coming across the middle. Those are the things that you love about guys who have the versatility to play inside and outside.
Great stuff, Diehl. It's always a pleasure talking football with you, my man. Bobby, you're back. All right, Bobby. Man. We thought we lost it for a second.
I don't know. It was the virtual mute. Hey, listen, I think if you're a Giants fan, when you think about what transpired this offseason as far as how free agency played out, remember, they were getting killed at the beginning part of free agency, and they turned it into magic. And the fact that they were able to get a receiver by trading back in round number 1, who is a stud, and get a 1st-round draft pick and a 4th-round draft pick next year, take the 5th that they got, flip it into getting Aaron Robinson, along with getting an edge rusher. I mean, if you're a Giants fan, how could you not be completely psyched after the first 2 days of the NFL draft?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, I think Dave Gettleman has taken heat, over the last couple of years. The team that he inherited and the salary cap that he talked about that he had to fix. When you look at what they did in free agency, Bob, coming into free agency, they didn't have a whole lot of room to work with. So the fact they were able to get Leonard Williams under contract, they were able to renegotiate some of the deals. They renegotiated Nate Solder's contract to get some room so they could bring in Kenny Golladay, Odenigbo from Minnesota, Rudolph, bringing in Dory Jackson. The fact that they were able to do all of that in free agency really allowed them to be this aggressive in the draft and not have to say, all right, listen, we didn't get the guys we wanted in free agency. Now we have to reach, or now we have to take a pick right now, even though we really would like to trade back like they did. So all of that in free agency really enabled them to be so much more aggressive and go wait for the guys that they really wanted in the draft.
This reminds me so much of early on in Coach Coughlin when he took over. He said, we are restoring this and turning this into a championship culture again. We see the same thing taking place with Joe Judge coming into his 2nd year as a head coach and the aggressive moves that Dave Gettleman has made through free agency and now through the draft. I couldn't be more excited to watch this team in 2021, bolstering up the defense, getting this offensive line settled up here as we see moving forward. But it's going to be an exciting season to watch, to say the least.
All right, fellas, it's been a lot of fun over the last 2 nights, getting a chance to share the stage with both of you. And for all of you Giants fans out there, make sure you check out all the Giants media platforms for reaction, interviews, highlights, and don't forget, we've got rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 tomorrow night, and Giants.com and all the Giant media platforms will have complete coverage for you. So for Shaun O'Hara, David Diehl, and our entire crew, I'm Bob Papa. Thanks for joining us for Big Blue Draft Night Live, presented by Van Heusen.